ICSE 10th standard kids. It's your board exam tomorrow, batch of 2022. This is the first time in the history of ICSE that a board exam is happening in the month of November, and there are two board exams, and it's just scary. I'm pretty sure it's scary. Everybody's scared. Plus, you've seen ISC people reacting to their exams. So, you feel that some of them are pretty scared. Physics, I think, is one of the most dreaded subjects. But tomorrow is English. And English should be the paper that should start off all other subjects, flag off all the other subjects. Because if your English paper is good, it will build your confidence for the rest of the exams. So one thing at the outset, I just want to say that I know for a fact that all of you are super scared. I'm not just saying it. I know the feeling. Anybody who's not in 10th anymore, who was my student back in 10th, will testify this and tell you that I am more tense than any child is. Not just during the exam, but also during the results. There's this weird feeling in your tummy. You can't explain, no matter how much you're trying to tell yourself not to be scared. वो अंदर से एक heaviness होने लगता है, mental एक कुछ अलग ही feeling है. वो जिनको जो गुजरते हैं सिर्फ वो लोग समझ सकते हैं. इसलिए मैं समझा भी नहीं पाऊंगा how difficult that feeling is. But what I'm trying to tell you is, it will pass. That feeling is just temporary. All right. So just get through it. Don't worry about it. Try to distract your mind right now. Be with your loved ones. Surround yourself with people you love. Surround yourself with positivity. It matters a lot. It makes a lot of difference. Okay. Now, tell yourself, what's the worst that can happen? Like, अगर कल का एग्जाम मैसअप कर दिया हम लोग ने गलती से अगर किसी का भी मैसअप हो गया, कुछ भी मैसअप हो गया. मैसअप is of different kinds. For a topper, a mess up would be that he lost 1 mark. Or for a person who's weak in studies, a mess up would be that he'll flunk in tomorrow's exam. Like, mess ups are of different people, have different definitions of mess ups. But what's the worst that can happen? You'll mess up. Big deal. Trust me, I've had my share of mess ups in life, and I think I'm doing pretty well for myself. So I don't need to tell you that this exam, it's just created by people. And people can be wrong sometimes. They are nobody to judge you. They are nobody to judge how intelligent you are. All right. Also, for me, exams are just a trial. It's like a test run. You write an exam only so that you come to know what mistakes you are making, so that you avoid those mistakes in the next exam. All right. So it's fine. What's the worst that can happen? You'll mess up. That's it. Nothing to worry about. All right. But I'm going to try and make sure that I do my best to guide you through the exam so that you don't mess up in tomorrow's paper. So starting with English language now, I'm telling you how the paper is going to be. You already know the paper pattern, you know the marks and everything. I'm not going to get into those nuances, but I'm telling you things that you may not be aware of. All right. First thing, the comprehension. When you get the comprehension, a lot of kids are scared about the meanings, the vocabulary, and that's possibly because of the papers you guys have been attempting, all these practice MCQs. My kids have attempted the prelim paper that I said was slightly difficult where the vocabulary was concerned. So I understand that you guys are shit scared about the vocabulary section, but let me tell you, in tomorrow's board paper, the vocabulary, people who are setting the paper have been directed by the council, so I'm pretty sure they followed the norms. The vocabulary will be very, very simple. The answer will be very evident in front of you. You have to have really bad English in order to mess up over there. So I'm sure that's hardly 5% of you have bad English. But otherwise, if you reach 10th grade, I'm pretty sure you don't suck at English. All right. So if you know basic English, tomorrow's vocabulary section is going to be easy. How I would interpret a meaning of a sentence is by putting my thumb on that word and then reading the sentence before that, reading the sentence after that, trying to understand what the context of that sentence is. It's not always the dictionary meaning. In tomorrow's paper, please remember this. It's not about the correct answer. It's about the best possible answer. All right. The correct answer could be the one in the dictionary, but that may not fit over here. So you have to go for the word that fits over here. What is the meaning that you're getting out of this passage? And for that, reading and understanding the comprehension is very necessary. All right, a lot of kids read half the passage and read the question and try to solve the question accordingly. Don't do that. My advice is read the whole passage thoroughly, once, twice, as many times as you need to, till you understand the context. Tomorrow's passages, most of them are going to be either, it could possibly be R.K. Narayan's passage or Ruskin Bond's passage or Roald Dahl's passage, all these contemporary writers. So don't worry about the understanding bit. It's going to be simple English, but you just need to read it through so you understand what the context is. Once you understand the context, then you will understand, अच्छा इसका meaning ये है. Now ये हो सकता है, ऐसा तेरे दिमाग में आएगा, ये meaning हो सकता है. The MCQ makes it simpler for you, because now when you compare your answers, you'll see your meaning which is very obvious, and उसी meaning के wrong forms दिए होंगे grammatically, like adverb form दिया होगा, noun form दिया होगा. तेरे को वो form choose करना है जो वहां fit होता है. Okay, that's how you'll do your meanings. The question answers parts also, the answers to the questions will have two kinds of questions. First, direct questions, and second, analytical questions. For example, like let's say there's a line. The line says he was struggling to walk with the bags and he kept putting it down at every interval. And my question will be, how can you say that the bags were heavy? So you can say it by this line. So which line out of the following says that the bags were heavy? Or what does this line denote? That the bags were heavy, the bags were light. What does it denote? So it denotes that the bags were heavy, the bags were big and heavy, something like that. So things that you have to analyze and write, things you can interpret from the passage, things which are direct questions. These are the two sort of questions that will be asked in the passage. Coming to the grammar section. The grammar section, the first one will have the verb tenses. All right. Now that's pretty simple. There are only 4 verb tenses. They'll ask you. So 4 blanks will be asked. They'll give you multiple choice questions. Again, my advice is read the whole short paragraph first. Because the first meaning that you get is not always the correct answer, because that may be grammatically correct, that one line. But when you follow it up with the rest of the lines of that short story, your answer might not add up. So you have to follow the tense that makes sense throughout the passage. All right. Once you're through with the verb tenses, you'll come to the prepositions. Now that is a tricky part. Everybody thinks that prepositions are tough. I had a doubt session with my kids just right now, like 10 minutes ago. I'll tell you some of the common questions that they asked me. I wrote it down over here. Done up and do away with, one of the kid asked me. So what do we normally use after done? All right. So that's not how I would ask you to prepare prepositions. I advise the kid the same thing. I'm telling you guys the same thing. Prepositions, apart from rote learning, is more about understanding the usage of the sentence. So try and understand. Today, this has to be done today, by the way. When you're reading prepositions from whatever sources you're reading from, try to understand the sentence and the usage of it, so that tomorrow in the paper, you are easily able to guess the answer. All right. When I say done up, I mean I'm tired about something. When I say do dash with, so it's do away with. All right. So do away means to get rid of. Done up means to be tired. Have you heard dash him? So the kid suggested, so it could be of, right? Have you heard of him? As in, have you heard about him? But the most obvious answer over here would be, have you heard from him? Which means, has that person written to you? Has that person spoken to you? So have you heard from him? Both the meanings are correct. I'm not denying that one is wrong, the other is correct. But tomorrow's paper is all about the most obvious answer. All right. And that will be very evident in the prepositions. Mostly the prepositions will be the ones which don't have multiple answers. For example, sentences like the train is running dash time. Now we know it could be on time, it could be behind time, depending on the meaning of it. But they will only give you the preposition which has one obvious answer. All right. So don't worry about it. Prepositions are going to be super duper simple. You just need to make sure you are thoroughly done with it. My advice is, for people who don't know this book, my kids have it already. It's called Joseph Mayal and Biswas Comprehensive Grammar. It's also there in Art of Effective Writing. This book used to be there. They have a set of prepositions you should go through. Go through all the prepositions in Total English 9, Total English 10. If you are friends with people on the internet, share resources. You know, this is not the time to keep commenting and asking each other, paper kaisa hoga, kya hoga, nahi. If you know somebody from another school and if they have some resources, take their WhatsApp number and share resources with each other. All right. That's how you should get through today. So read all the possible prepositions that you can come across. All right. Do not solve anything new. All right. Please understand what I'm saying. This is not the time to solve unsolved questions. No. Go through all the solved examples, solved prepositions, solved written things which you already know are the answers. That way you won't get confused, and I'm pretty sure those prepositions are the ones that will come in the exam. All right. Once you're through with the prepositions, you'll have joint sentences. Obviously, you cannot use anything with and, but, or, so. So in the options, if you see not only but also, you are not supposed to choose that option, because not only but also has but in it, you can't use it. So that you can't use. So if the word so comes in joint sentences, do not use that sentence. Avoid that sentence. All right. So once you know the rules, then sentences become easier for you. All right. A common question that people were asking me and didn't know, I'm surprised at this point 10th graders don't know this. Is a taunt to you. Sorry, but it's true. In spite of equals to despite. The word despite के बाद of नहीं आता है. Please understand, I thought it's the most common thing. You can never use of after despite. You can never use of after comprise in British English. American English में comprise of होता है. British English में comprises equals to composed of. Okay, so composed of equals to comprises, and in spite of equals to despite. So you eliminate the word of after despite. All right. I think this was the most common thing that I wanted to talk about where joint sentences are concerned. Then you come to the grammar part. The grammar part is the most easiest part because you can already anticipate what's coming. They'll either ask you, I've written this down, so I just have to check. Active, passive voice, you need to be thorough with. Direct, indirect speech, you have to focus on the quotes, okay, the punctuations. So that and to ka usage you should know. As soon as, no sooner than, hardly, when, no sooner ke baad, does, do, did, had. According to the meaning of the sentence, the word changes. So you have to make sure you know that. Question tags, you need to know that question tags are different from interrogative sentences. Degrees of comparison, this time the board has told the people who are setting the paper to keep only positive degree and superlative degrees. All right, so for example, if the sentence is no other boy in school is as tall as him, then the conversions would have he is the tallest boy. Or if it says very few boys in school are as tall as him, the conversion will be he's one of the tallest boys. They are going to avoid putting the comparative degree, so you have less things to worry about. Okay, it will be easy. Interrogative to assertive sentences, like who has not heard of this guy? Who has not? The word not is a negative word. So when your question is negative, your assertive sentence will be positive. Everyone has heard of this guy. All right. So when your question is negative, the assertive is positive. Same rule in so that and to also. Like this bag is so heavy that I cannot carry it. Not is a negative word. This bag is too heavy for me to carry. Or this bag is too heavy to be carried. All right, depending on what the MCQ is. But if your so and that is negative, your to and to will be positive and vice versa. Same way with interrogative and assertive. Noun forms to verb forms you need to know. All right, annoyed, annoyance. So you need to know these two words, or like the forms I'm talking about, noun forms and verb forms. The use of prefer and rather. Like I prefer doing this to this. So prefer ke baad to aata hamesha. I'd rather do this. All right, so I'd rather much do this is like I would definitely do this. So things like that. You need to know these usages. I'll just go through other things. 1 second. Yeah, one more kid asked me a preposition. I think this was an interesting one. She reached dash the table to borrow the pen. It's reached across the table to borrow the pen. But if the pen is kept right there, so the question would be she reached dash the pen. She reached for the pen. Okay, you reach for something. You reach across the table to grab something. All right. You act on people's advice. All right. Now, these were common doubts that people asked me right before this lecture. So I thought I'll just include them in this video. I think I've covered everything. Now you know what you're supposed to go through properly. They will never ask you questions like none of the above, all of the above wale questions nahi aayenge, confusing questions nahi aayenge. Paper super easy hoga. If you feel a question is incorrect, read it 2 to 3 times. All right. Do not write the answer first and then ponder over it. Think first and then write. All right, this advice I keep giving people. It's a 40-mark paper. You have a lot of time, so make sure that you read the paper once, twice, thrice, and then when you're super sure of the answers, only then you start jotting down the answers. All right, I hope this video helped. All the best for your exams tomorrow. Do well. Tomorrow I'll be putting up a video for literature as well, so you guys know all the points you need to know before you start preparing for literature. But today, focus only on language. All right, I love you guys. Take care. I hope all of you do well.